Hey, I'm Daniel DK, and today I am talking to Prika and Diva from NERVOSA. We're discussing the new album, Perpetual Chaos, the entirely new lineup that brings a whole new sound, whether or not there is a place in mainstream media for death metal vocals, and of course, how the chaos and beauty of Brazil influenced this new album. Prika and Diva, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Well, it's this afternoon here in Toronto, but where am I talking to you ladies from today?
I'm from Brazil in the middle of the storm.
I'm talking from the cold Madrid in Spain.
I'm stoked to have you guys here today. This is a huge time for NERVOSA. A lot of hype behind this album. Since Downfall of Mankind, we're looking at an entirely new lineup. Prika, I'm kind of wondering what your initial mindset was after the departure of all your bandmates.
Look, I saw a huge challenge in front of me, of course, but it was a good opportunity to restart the band with a new energy. And we did a lot of video calls before we met each other and recording the videos. We could talk about many things, and this contributed for when we meet each other to have a good time together.
Speaking of video calls, I mean, putting together a band during a global pandemic, especially a band with members from all over the world, there must have been some challenges.
The biggest feeling that we had for this process was anxious, and this is still growing. So
Yeah.
it's been very hard for us. Wait, this is the word for the moment, wait. But it was a very good process because we were in our house with more time. So we have a chance to build in this, in a good way. We had also an opportunity to be in the middle of the paradise, to have the opportunity to meet each other for the first time in that place was awesome. And I think contributed for the final results of the album.
So this is the house that we are living.
There is no drummer better than this.
Time to fight!
That's really interesting how the way you meet each other can truly affect the way the final product comes out.
I think it was a very good idea to meet at that studio and not to other, because of the environment. It was a very beautiful place and everything was chill and happy, and there was a lot of funny moments and happy vibes around, so that affects and had an amazing impact on this new album for sure. Yeah.
Diva, can you kind of just tell me a little bit about your story and how joining NERVOSA came to be something for you?
I mean, NERVOSA has been one of the main references for me in the extreme metal scene, because it's almost the only all-female band that I knew. I saw NERVOSA on stage a lot of times since many years ago, so for me it's like a dream come true. I never could imagine that I could be here someday, as the new vocalist. So yes, it's been kind of crazy. It's been a huge honor. So when Prika asked me if I wanted to do the audition, I was in my house in the middle of the quarantine. And when I saw my mobile phone and the message, it was like, oh my God, Prika Mara sent me a message. Can't believe it. And I started to jump all around the room.
I know you've had lots of interesting musical projects in the past, but one thing I really want to talk about with you, Diva, is your appearance on The Voice in Spain. It's very interesting. I loved watching it, especially the judges' reactions.
Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody looking for something.
Well, I thought this would be a good chance of spreading the word about the extreme metal scene, because here in Spain it's not very common to have this kind of background, musically speaking. So I was the first one in participating as a growler, and there were a lot of people that never heard something like this, so their faces were like, oh my God, what is that? But most part of people just standing up and clap like crazy because it was like, yeah, something different finally. So
let's talk about now. We're have the fourth full-length record from Nervosa, Perpetual Chaos. People already calling it the best release the band has ever had, so congratulations on that. I'm interested in the main musical and thematic influences on this record that may be different from past Nervosa efforts.
I think we are talking about almost for the same topics, but in a different way for this time. This kind of pandemic situation, brings a lot of influence to talk about many topics. We are seeing many leaders and from many countries, doing many fascist speeches, so this inspired us a lot for this album to talk about it, because it's something that happened that we never thought that this can happen again, but this is repeating, from the past. So that's why we put Perpetual Chaos, because it doesn't matter how many years we are passing through, we will commit the same mistake. For the first time, we have influences from black metal that Diva and Mia brings to the band, and I think it's awesome. We are very excited with this result, and I hope for the next album we can bring a little bit more for this. And Eleni Nota, our drummer, she brings a lot of influences from different kind of style of music and in metal, of course. And she brings a little bit from prog. She played in many bands and many projects. So every detail that she brings for this new album makes differences in the final results. And of course, the voice of Diva brings a different vibe for the band, because she's singing in a many techniques, extreme vocals, like guttural, growls, and deep growls, and high, and many things. So I think the result is more rich.
I totally hear that as well, because if someone would have asked me a year ago what type of band you play, and I would have said it's a death thrash band. But now, after hearing the new record in entirety, I can safely say that it's a blackened death thrash band.
Yes, exactly. And we love this.
Yeah, I love it too. It's awesome. You guys didn't jam together in a room once before you went to record the album. How does not playing live together before the studio affect the overall process?
Look, Nervosa, from the last 5 years, we were working from the distance. Downfall of Mankind was composed 100% with the distance, because we live it in different cities in Brazil.
Do you ever find that there's like, you create something distanced and then you get together to play it and you're like, once the human element gets involved, you're like, okay, well, this doesn't work?
Yes, I was about to say that for me it was a different way of working, because I'm used to work individually, but having like 1 week to put everything in common and just do some arrangements. And I couldn't imagine how this whole album would sound like until we went into the studio and we heard the final mix. It was like a surprise for me in the end. So yeah, it was a very nice way of working, totally different for me, but a good way of learning how to develop another strategies just to arrange to the circumstances.
How did this compare to your past band experiences? And I mean, what were your goals walking into a studio with a bunch of people you literally didn't know?
Well, it was different also for me, because I did some collabs with other projects with people that I didn't met before, but that's only for one song. And it's not so difficult as for a whole album with one topic to talk about and develop and one concept. It's not like that. So for me, it was like Each one of the songs of this album, it was like a whole story. And I think that was a good point, because when you listen to the album, any of the songs in this album is different and tells a different story, so you never get bored.
I'm wearing the shirt. I gotta ask. Schmier has a guest spot on your record. What's the story?
Oh, yes. Look, Shamir is a big friend of mine. We had an opportunity to tour together many times. 2 times in Europe, 1 time in Brazil. We are always beating on the road. And to have he in our new album was very important, because to have this kind of support, it's very important for our new season of Nervosa. Genocide Command was a very thrash, I think the most thrash metal track on this album. And I will listen his voice on this track, you know. It's very destruction song, and it was, yes, Shamir has to be there. And when I sent the song for him, he was very excited to do it, and I think it fit very well.
And the band is made up of members from all over the world that bring their own spice and their own unique elements to the band. But for me, the spirit and sound of Nervosa is deeply rooted in Brazil.
I think Sepultura, it's one of the bands that most influenced many parts of the bands around the world. It was not different with Nervosa, you know. And we are in I think one of the most corrupted country, unfortunately. So the hate make part of our life every day, you know. Because of that, we don't have equality, you know. We don't have justice, so it brings us a lot of aggressivity too. It's perfect, you know, feeling for metal. So we put everything, this kind of feelings on our music.
Sepultura, Sarcophago, Holocausto, all Executor, all the Brazilian bands really massively influenced all around the world. But when I listen to this new album and I'm aware of all the different musicians on it, I really do hear the heart of Brazil in the music. It's incredible how it translates so well.
Nice. I'm glad to listen to this, because this was temptation.
You nailed it. It's perfect. Everybody's got to make sure they pick up Perpetual Chaos, the 4th full length from Nervosa, out now on Napalm Records. Thank you so much for hanging. It was really nice to meet both you guys.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I can't wait to see you live after this.
Please.